Statement number 65. Fortune's Disfavor. Statement giver Michael Peterson. Experienced January 20th, 1948. New Forest, England. Given February 1st, 1948. Statement begins. Do you believe in luck? Just the fundamental concept of there being some people in the world who are favoured over others for no apparent reason at all. I used to believe in something called karma, that what goes around will eventually come around, but I don't believe that anymore. Not after it and those wandering idiots made me lose everything. But let me start from the beginning. I work as a clerk in a small bank just outside Southampton and have for most of my life. I was not recommended for service in the war on account of my flat feet, but I sometimes wished I had the chance to go out and actually be somebody. I know it's terrible to say after seeing so many broken people come back from the war, but the stories they must be able to tell are far more interesting than that of a clerk working his life away counting deposit slips. I found myself regretting every day until I met her. Her name was Vedoma, and she was undoubtedly the most beautiful woman I had ever seen in my life. Her long dark hair reached her waist and seemed to be braided with various colored beads. Her clothing was colorful and purple, which starkly contrasted the dreary city that she lit up around her. She never came inside the bank, but I would see her from the window on occasion walking through the town running errands of some sort. I did eventually muster up the courage to speak with her one night when my shift was finishing, and I saw her walking alone through the streets. I did not want to frighten her, so upon looking up, as she was walking by, I asked if she was okay, and if she wanted anyone to escort her home. She turned to look at me with searching eyes that fiercely pierced into my soul with an intensity that caused my throat to go dry for a moment. But there was something else in her eyes. A bit of doubt. She explained to me that she had been mugged 2 days prior, returning from the city with things for her family, but understandably she said that she did not know me. I introduced myself and told her that I completely understood and that I worked in the bank here and was heading home myself. I wished her a good night and told her that if she ever did want accompaniment, just to ask. This went on for around a week or so of us passing each other at night and exchanging greetings, till one night when she did ask if it wasn't too much, if I would be willing to walk her home. I was, of course, delighted to do so, and we strode through the streets quietly talking. All was going well until we came over the edge of town, and she continued walking into New Forest. Several things clicked in my head as to what this woman was at that moment, but I honestly didn't care at the time. She was beautiful and interesting to talk to, and I found that she not only lit up the city, but my everyday as well. Needless to say, I continued following her and walking her home, and eventually reached her wagon-bound Romani family. They were all very kind and thanked me for helping their Vedoma back to them so far. But there was an older woman in an ornate carriage that I saw peering at me with a face of disgust from one of the side windows where she was sitting. I became closer with Vedoma and her family over the next couple of months and would often spend weekends with her. It was without a doubt the happiest time of my life. Until it happened. One day I came around looking for Vedoma, but found the encampment mostly empty except for the woman who I had come to know as Mother Esme. Upon seeing me, she beckoned me to come closer with her finger. I did and was about to ask who everyone was, but she stopped me short and asked if I loved her. This caught me off guard. Sure, I did love her, but the way she asked the question had such a finality and precision to it, as if I was entering a contract that I did not know of. I nodded, and she stretched out her hand and gave me a beautiful blue sapphire necklace with a silver casing and claimed that it was a family heirloom and that she wanted me to give it to Vedoma when I saw her next. I thanked her, and assuming that the family was simply out hunting or somewhere else, I returned home with the sapphire. This is when the curse took me. My life has been ruined by this sapphire. The most consequential things keep happening and inevitably failing for me. I broke both my legs getting hit by a motor car in the middle of the night. I was fired at my job for losing a deposit slip that I did not lose, and I was imprisoned for a night for being at the wrong place and time where a crime was committed. has not stopped and is getting worse. I tried to find Vedoma and her family again, but I cannot find them, and the whole caravan appears to have moved on. You need to help me. I am held together by threads at this point. I have no home, no job, and I am slowly losing every bone in my body to this brokenness, this curse. I tried getting rid of the sapphire, but every time I do, it will just appear again randomly wherever I am. But you can help me, right? You are religious people and you investigate with... Statement ends. It says here Mr. Peterson began getting agitated and apparently suffered a minute stroke. He was escorted to a nearby hospital where he was released, but then died shortly after as he was found dead in a post office with his neck slit by a letter opener he was holding. The sapphire was found with a note asking that it be delivered here and taken, quote, back to those gypsy bastards to save whoever next held the sapphire from the curse. Not much is known about this group of travellers, but the Romani caravan led by the woman called Mother Esme was last sighted in New Forest.